All right, good evening. Welcome to the regular Livingston Parish Council meeting. Today is July 24th, 2025. The time is 6 p.m. All public notices have been sent out and published, and the media has been notified. At this time, Councilman Lonnie Watts, would you please provide us with the invocation?
Dear Lord, we come before you thanking you for the privilege to serve the people of our parish. We ask that everything said here and decisions made here tonight will be in the best interest of the parish. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Watts. Let's see. Mr. Purvis, can you say the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Caroline, can you do the roll call?
Mr. Coates?
Here.
Mr. Wascom?
Here.
Mr. Watts?
Here.
Ms. Sandifer?
Here.
Mr. Erdy?
Here.
Mr. Taylor? Absent. Mr. Mangus?
Here.
Mr. Goff?
Here.
And Mr. Shavers is absent.
All right. Cell phones, please mute or turn off any cell phones if you have them at this time. Public input. Anyone wishing to address agenda items should have turned cards in to Caroline, Miss Caroline, or Miss Raven. If you have 4 minutes with the card. If you still wish to speak and you haven't turned in a card, you will be after those speakers, and it will be 2 minutes. Also, reminder, when you're addressing agenda item, speak to the council, not to anyone in the audience. Be respectful. Please state your name into the microphone and your address. All right, and first item is presentations. Mr. Mickey McMorris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Miss Linda Gardner has a presentation to do for some master gardeners, and she will take over from now.
Yes, I'm sorry, I see that.
Good evening, Council. I would like to recognize 5 of our master gardeners in our community that have come out and helped us over the last few months. We had 14 trees planted down the boulevard, on Government Boulevard. They're really beautiful. They're growing already. And the whole front of the parish building is nothing but flowers and greenery. And it's just really beautiful to look at. And I think one day when different people going down, they see these beautiful trees that are blossomed. I think they're really going to enjoy that after leaving the courthouse. So I want to recognize Clark Robertson. He's actually one of the paid employees, and yes, and he helps with the designs and everything. So we just like to give you a recognition for your hard work, and thank you so much for coming out and planning these. This isn't something that just takes overnight, but these are like weeks of planning and what we're going to be doing. So I think it's just important that we thank you.
And what is your name, sir?
Clark Robertson.
Clark Robertson.
County
Thank
agent
you.
for Livingston Parish.
Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Gardner.
Next one is Miss Flo Barker. I told them I didn't recognize them this evening because they weren't all, sweaty and dirty. They looked really good. They cleaned up well.
We did.
Miss Flo, we want to appreciate you for your hard work and your dedication in helping the parish. You guys are always there to help us when we need you guys, and appreciate you and support. Thank you. Jesse? Melanie? Melanie, I do appreciate you and all your hard work. Thank you. We have Miss.
Let's get pictures with winners.
So if I can, yeah, apparently I got the job when I helped the last one. Your job. So everybody just kind of get to the center. Y'all come in the front. Y'all come in the front.
Around this corner.
Are we centered?
Ricky, scoot out, way out.
Camera right.
Thank you.
Now we have Mr. Mickey McMorris. This is the audit report and slideshow.
Mr. Chairman, the president has asked if you could do the presentation to the superintendent at this time. Okay. And we'll pass out the audit report.
Mr. Purvis and Mr. Delat.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing, Mr. Purvis has got another place he needs to go to. Basically, we're going to ask the council to adopt a resolution to authorize the Livingston Parish President to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between Livingston Parish and Livingston Parish Public Schools to provide government opioid funds to the Livingston Parish Public Schools for opioid testing, treatment, and abatement in Livingston Parish Public Schools amid the opioid epidemic. Mr. Purvis is going to explain what that means and take your questions, okay?
All right, thank you, Mr. Delat, for that. Members of the council, we appreciate you having us here tonight, and we appreciate you joining us in that corporate endeavor. So basically, as a district and the central office, as well as input from numerous people at our office, we looked at ways that and things that we needed to improve as far as for opioid education in our parish. And as we did that, we thought of several different items that we would be able to do that would help enhance what we're already doing. And one of those items is the expansion of our telehealth, our teletherapy help for students. This allows us to have more counseling services available to students. And this is through telehealth, and it's through a company called Daybreak Health. This is a company we have already have some services with, but this will allow us to expand that for our middle and high school students that's involved in this. And the next item would be we have vape detectors installed in schools, and this would allow us to complete the last schools. And once this is done, we will have all of our middle schools and our high schools that will have vape detectors in the restrooms. So when students go in, if they are vaping, there is a detector that goes off. That detector also recognizes loud sound as well, and it sends an alert to where it can be investigated at that point in time. We have seen since we've installed those in some schools, we have seen a reduction in our expulsion number due to our expulsions due to drugs. And so we have seen that to be something that has really helped, and we wanted to get those last schools done. And then there is a small portion that will be dedicated for some drug testing. We have students who are expelled for drugs. Those students go to our alternative program, or they have an opportunity to go to an alternative program. And then once those students return or they finish that alternative program, at times we will engage with the parents to do some drug testing in order to continue to have that student on a road to success for moving forward. So And so this is all of these items that we're talking about. Some of these items may sound like they're reactive, but then the majority of these items are proactive as well, which is what we want to be in order to help get this under control. And then the last item that's included in that corporate endeavor is an administrative assistant at the Livingston Alternative Program. The Livingston Alternative Program is a program that's where our 2 to 4 semester drug expulsion students go. So once they go through our initial Pine Ridge, which is our alternative program, they spend a certain amount of time there. And then once they're completed successfully there, they go over to our Livingston Alternative. And at that program, they're able to finish their education, sometimes even finish early. But we do more counseling on that site, and we do a lot of education on the effects of drugs, as well as just trying to have a more of a supportive environment to help that student become a successful citizen. So it's just more intense observation, more intense being really monitored, and there's a lot of touch points that goes on there. So with that program expanded, the administrative assistant will be able to allow us to even have more touch points with those students and really have a more focus on getting those students on the right track so that we can make them successful and not have to have those students dropping out or ending up in jail, et cetera. So we appreciate the council. We appreciate the abatement board. I know Mr. McMarsh, Mr. Browning, and Ms. Gill worked really hard with us on this, and we appreciate all of the help that we've received. So thank y'all very, very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Purvis.
Is there any questions?
I think it was an outstanding presentation. I personally know a few people that have, unfortunately, went through Pine Ridge, but fortunately for Pine Ridge, they are on a much better track and have kids and things of that nature, and they are an asset to our community now, thanks to that particular program. I can speak directly to that program personally. So I would be happy to make the motion to authorize Mr. DeLatte to enter into this intergovernmental agreement.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay, we have a motion to adopt a resolution to authorize the Livingston Parish President to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between Livingston Parish and Livingston Parish Public Schools to provide government opioid funds to Livingston Parish Public Schools for opioid testing, treatment, and abatement in Livingston Parish Public Schools amid the opioid epidemic. Mr. Goff made the motion, and Mr. Wascom seconded it.
All right, got it. Mr. Purvis, I appreciate everything y'all are doing to try to extinguish the drug crisis within our schools. However, can you expand a little bit further upon the drug testing techniques that you're utilizing, or is that something that you prefer not to do in this open meeting?
No, I can give a generality on that. We will be working with one of the local vendors, and we will do this in conjunction with the parents. It's not like, we're just going to walk up and drug test. This will be working with the parents through a contract, and then we will use one of our local vendors that we will be doing the testing at. It will not be like a at-home test, et cetera. It will be done the correct way at a facility.
Okay, that's kind of answering the question, because we have a lot of laws to protect juveniles in this scenario.
Absolutely.
And I just want to make sure that the parents are being involved in it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And from what I understand, these would be students that have already been received due process. They've already been expelled, gone through Pine Ridge, and this is maintenance. Right.
That is correct. It is to try to keep them on that right track. And at times, we do have those students that they will finish Pine Ridge, they will finish a portion of Livingston Alternative, and that at times they will return back to our school on a probationary status. And that is when we would be using some of that, where they've released, they're going back to school, but we're still really working with them where they know, because, I'm a huge believer in what gets monitored gets done. So when we're continuing to have those touch points with students, it truly helps.
Would there be any turning over the results of your test to law enforcement or anything of that nature?
This is for our purposes. This is not for
It's
law
administrative,
enforcement.
it's not criminal.
That is correct.
Understood. Thank you.
All right, do we have any other questions? Anyone from the audience wish to address this issue?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Purvis.
Mr. Erdy?
If they go through Pine Ridge and get back into the school system, do they ever say fall backwards and go back to Pine Ridge? How does that work?
We do at times have that. We have started, due to the numbers and the size of Pine Ridge, we try to prevent that from occurring, and we can't always allow them to return back just because of the size. But I will tell you, the success rate at Pine Ridge, we don't have to have that conversation a lot because the success rate is really good. Typically, when they go through the program, they successfully complete the program. Once they go back to school, they are usually, we don't normally see that happen a lot, where they are facing another consequence and then being looked at as needing to return.
Well, thank you. That's a good way for it to be that way.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you a lot.
Yeah, Mr. Erdy, I'll tell you, for the last 8 years, I've been a juvenile prosecutor in Ward 2 in Denham Springs. And when I see these kids come in and they go to Pine Ridge, when I see them a few months later, it's like a different kid. I wish more parishes would enact something like Pine Ridge. The kids, a lot of them need that structure in their life, and that's what kind of keeps them in line and keeps them moving forward. I think it's a great opportunity for them.
Absolutely.
Y'all
And
been-
Pine Ridge is the beginning of that program, and then we started the Livingston Alternative, because what we did find was Pine Ridge is incredibly structured, and it is it's really meant to be a short term, like a 45-day program, and it's hard for students to stay in there for 2 to 4 semesters when they're expelled for drugs. So with us expanding and having Livingston Alternative, they go through that 45 days. Once they successfully complete that, then they shift over to Livingston Alternative, and that's where they stay for that 2 to 4 semesters, because it's very, very structured, but they have a little bit more freedom than they did at Pine Ridge, and it keeps them from dropping out. And the success rate at Livingston Alternative has been very, very good. We've had numerous students that they successfully graduated, and as I said earlier, many of them graduated earlier, where a lot of those students would have just dropped out. So it's been very successful.
Thank you very much, Mr. Purvis.
Thank you.
Okay, to call for the vote. The vote on your iPad. Okay, that motion passes 7 with 2 absent, so unanimously. Okay, moving on. Now, Mr. Mickey McMorris. And he's
Good
going to
evening,
discuss
Council.
the audit report.
So hot off the press, it's just been put on your desk, delivered by the auditor. In the back of it, there's some pages that will also be public. It was submitted by the auditor to legislative auditor, and they have to review it for a day or two, and then it will be published on their website as a public record. So I must commend our staff and the auditors that are here. These are actually the workers that were here. They went through it. They're going to make a little short presentation to you. It was a very tough task, and copious hours were spent on this. So the 2 lead auditors are Josh and Amber, and they will, I guess, Josh is going to start the presentation, and then Amber will take over, and then they'll ask if you have any questions. They will be glad to respond. Mr. Josh.
Please direct your attention to the monitors on the side.
Thank you, Mr. Mickey. Council, good evening. Good to see you all. My name is Joshua Smith. I am an audit manager with Falcon Winkler, and I'm here to go over the 2024 results of your financial statement audit. What you have in front of you right now, you should have the booklet. It's a pretty thick booklet. However, what I'll be kind of sticking to as I give the presentation is the slideshow handout, which is being displayed. So I will make references at points in time to particular pages in the booklet where you can gain additional information. But for the majority of the presentation, I'll pretty much just be sticking to this handout. So feel free to interrupt me at any time if y'all have any questions, or I'm more than happy to answer any questions as I conclude the presentation.
Sir, can you please raise the microphone a little bit? There you go.
I'm sorry. So looking at the slideshow, I'm going to start on page 2. And what's in front of you on this slide is pretty much just a comprehensive list of what happens and what procedures are performed during the audit. What a lot of people don't know is what all goes into it. Like Mr. Morris said, his team and we all work pretty diligently together and intense, but there are a lot of procedures that you all, that administration, the different departments of the parish have to keep up and stay on top in order to operate a parish of this size. And so with the financial statement audit, some procedures consist of verifying balances, review of transactions, expense testing, credit card testing, reimbursement testing, things of that nature. And there's also particular procedures we perform over the laws as it relates to compliance with state budget law, Louisiana audit law, public bid law, things of that nature. So it's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and I just want to once again compliment the staff that a lot of people don't know what it takes to run a parish of your size. And so going on to the next slide, this is pretty much the results of the 2024 financial statement audit and a couple other reports that we issue. So within that booklet that you all have, we issued 3 separate independent auditors reports. One is on the financial statements themselves. On that report, we issued an unmodified opinion, meaning there were no material misstatements that we were aware of, so the cleanest opinion you can have. The second report that we issue is the report over internal controls over financial reporting and compliance as it relates to governmental auditing standards. We do have some matters that arose from that particular procedure. And then the third report is the internal controls over compliance for major federal grant programs, which we also have some discussion points below as it relates to that particular report as well. And so looking down below, as it relates to your third report, the internal controls over compliance for major federal grant programs, you all did have 5 major federal programs that we were required to test this year. One of them being your COVID funds, one of them being your Department of Transportation funds, some flood mitigation grant program funds, and hazard mitigation grant program funds. And there was also one additional major fund that was from the Department of Transportation as well. Of the 5 major funds that we tested, we did have 1 modification to our opinion, and the other 4 were unmodified, meaning the cleanest opinion you can have. And I'll touch base on those results below. So we do have a couple of reportable items. How I look at this is it is a list of 7 items, but there's really just one overarching matter that really solves all of these items. And so just due to the standards, we were required to break them out like this. I wouldn't get caught up in the list, how it looks. It's just one main item that we have since begun to address, the team has begun to address, and I believe ultimately that these will work themselves out in the short term. And so the first reportable matter is number 2024-001. That's your internal controls over preparation of the schedule of expenditures of federal awards. And so issue here was that we were relying on a particular grant schedule to present accurate data, and there were some miscalculations, some errors, some maintenance that just needed to happen with this schedule. And since we were able to work with the finance team, and they were able to put procedures in place to make sure that this schedule is properly kept going forward. The second item is 2024-002, documentation of internal controls over federal awards. Like I said, you all have many federal award programs. However, you all have procedures that are taking place, but it's just not formalized. The standards require that you have a formal written documentation. So it's just beefing up what you have just to make sure you're in compliance. Yes, sir.
I hate to digress, but what safeguards did y'all, what safeguards did y'all put in place to make sure it doesn't occur again?
Well, we sat down with the team and we discussed what procedures need to happen, as if the communications between the grants department, the finance department, how the schedule needs to be presented and how it needs to be monitored on a more accurate, on a more timely basis, which they have since done since 2025. However, some of this was just inherited that they had to take over. And while working with them, they identified some of them. And then while we were working together, we identified some of the matters, and we were able to collab and say, okay, well, this is the procedures we need in place. This is how we need to maintenance this schedule. This is the uniform we need of this, the uniformity we need in the schedule, and the data we need each particular grant program to have.
Let's hold questions to the end because I can't do the request to speak when the presentation is on. So if you have a question that's pertinent, just raise your hand and let me know because it won't come on the screen.
I believe the speaker said if you have a question, interject. Didn't you say that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to answer questions in any form or fashion I need to.
I'm the chair, so I have to give you permission to speak.
Thank you. And so the next one is 2024-003, inadequate controls over coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds, reporting allowable cost requirements. This also was an issue just what was being reported in the data schedule that we were performing our procedures over didn't necessarily line up with what was being reported externally. So that discrepancy did cause this particular item. The next one is 2024-004, inadequate controls and noncompliance over monitoring of subrecipients. There's a particular grant that you all have where you all receive money from federal agencies and you all pass it through to another local agency. There's just some monitoring of that local agency that needs to take place, and that was communicated, and that could easily be resolved in the short term, I believe, as well. Then number 5 is 2024-005, internal controls over financial reporting. With the touch up and the changes that we did have to make or propose to your master grant schedule, there were some adjusting entries that were required, and due to the timeliness of them, it did require us to report this as a reportable item. 2024-006, state audit law. Like we previously stated, there were numerous of additional efforts that had to be placed forward just to make sure that we were comfortable with these numbers before we finalized this report. And so we were a little delinquent in submitting the report, and so this was a required communication as well. In 2024-007, like I said previously, since there were some adjustments that were related to us touching up this schedule, that it did throw some of your funds from a variance as it relates to the 5% expenditure rule and the 5% revenue rule. And so looking on to the next slide, what we're required to do as auditors, each year when we come in, we're required to follow up on any items that was previously reported. And so this is a list of your prior year reportable items. All of but one was stated on the previous page, and so one was resolved. That was 2023-003, which was some internal control matters as it relates to personnel costs and benefits. And so the next couple slides, what we like to do is just give you a few presentation points as it relates to what your trends look like over the last 4 years. So on this first slide, what you have is your governmental fund revenues. And what really stands out to me here, and what was the topic previously, is the green bar. You can see that bar, it's the majority of your revenues throughout each year, and it also changes the most. And so the cause of that is these last couple of years, you all have been receiving an extreme amount of grant funding, and it has increased since, I want to say, 2020. So these last 3 years, you all have picked up additional responsibilities as it relates to utilizing your COVID funds, some additional hazard mitigation funds, flood prevention, things of that nature. So heavily investing into the parish with your grant funds and the programs that you're participating in. So overall, these programs are helping improve as it relates to your roads, your disaster prevention, and things of that nature. And so you can see these last 3 years has been pretty heavy. You had two big grants that caused that. It was one related to a USDA grant that was upper 40 million that was pretty much split over these first 3 years, and then also your COVID funds, which was 27 million, that was pretty much split the majority over these 3 years. And so the next thing that stands out to me here is that all your other fund revenues are relatively consistent. I'll get into those on a future slide, but you're also maintaining 9 grant funds in a very sufficient manner to where you're able to keep your revenue stable and grow while using these grant funds to leverage and reduce your costs. Looking at the next slide, this is your sales tax allocation. Over a 4-year period, you're roughly averaging 28.7 million in sales tax. These are dedicated to your jail and road fund, and so pretty consistent over the years. Nothing really alarming here. It's good that you can see that this trend is staying in a positive way to where you're not losing any funds as the years go on. The next slide is the recap of your intergovernmental revenues by type. So this is the grant funds that we're previously discussing. So as I said before, heavy volume of grant funds, averaging 44 million over the last 4 years. Most of that being dedicated to your public safety efforts, which include your COVID funds that were used for various projects and your FEMA grants that were disaster recovery and prevention. And then in the red, you have in the later years, you can see in 2022 and 2023, the public works grants did pick up. That's related to your DOTD programs for highway and transportation improvements. Looking at the next slide, this is your unrestricted revenues. What stands out here is that these are the revenues that you're able to use at your discretion. So in 2021, you're roughly at 16.1 million, and now in 2024, you're at 20.6 million. So constant increase there. That growth is good. Like I said, this is the revenues you're able to use at your leisure. But right now, what you all are doing is you're consistently growing this revenue while also leveraging your grant revenues, which are being funded through other federal and state sources. So this is a good sign. That means you're able to you're able to keep growing these revenues, which oftentimes you want to just keep consistent, but it's showing that you all are able to constantly keep some growth throughout the year. The next slide is your governmental expenditures. If you look at this is pretty much the same trend as your grant revenues. And so as your grant revenues increase, it's pretty much driving because it's expenditure driven. So the costs that you incur, you're getting reimbursed for those costs. And so it kind of floated up to 2023 and 2021. You're at roughly 76.4 million. It peaked at 2023 at 104.7 million, and it's trended down this year to 68 million. And so, like I said, this is truly based on your grant expenditures. That's what's driving these costs. And so as that pattern, as you receive certain grant funds, it determines what those funds are to be used for and what expenditures are going to occur as well. The next slide is a recap of your fund balance. So what your fund balance is in your governmental funds over the years. So you can see healthy growth here. In 2021, you're at 51.9 million. In 2024, you're at 78.3 million. What stands out is that you can see most of your fund balance is restricted. That's for your road, your health unit, your jail funds, and any grant funds that you have to use for a dedicated purpose. And then looking at the red, in 2024, you're roughly at 17.2 million. Once I subtract out from your expenditures all the dedicated source expenditures and all the grant expenditures, you're roughly sitting at that 6 month spot of fund balance where you want to have that reserve. You can never have enough for the red, but right now, based on the expenditures you incur that are non-related to grants and dedicated revenues, that you all do have a sufficient reserve. But however, like I said, you always want to see that red grow as much as it can. And then the next slide is just a breakout of what the restrictions are on your fund balance. And so you can see majority of it is the blue, and that's related to your construction and road maintenance, which you constantly have maintenance and improvements and various projects in your capital outlay recaps. And so what stands out to me here, though, as I look at this slide, is you can see the green over the years. You have accumulated double in your health and welfare restrictions since 2021, so have built up a pretty good reserve there as it relates to those revenues to perform particular projects or particular initiatives as it relates to the health unit, but the majority residing in road and transportation. And then the last slide we have here, just a recap of your cash balance over the years. So pretty healthy cash balance. You're actually getting about roughly 2.7 in interest on these balances. So this is your cash, your money market accounts, your LAMP accounts, things of that nature. So you are getting a healthy return here, but this is just a snapshot of where it's sat at over the last 4 years, and you're roughly at 62.5. And so that's all I have for this presentation. One thing I do want to just, like I say, re-emphasize is that there's a lot of work that goes into the audit, and extremely thankful for working with the staff that we had, Mr. Morris, Ms. Gill, Ms. Gina, everyone on the finance team. They were very intentional to making sure that we were able to get this audit done, and we don't get that with every client that we have. So truly appreciative for every opportunity we have to work with you all.
Do we have any questions from the council members?
Just a
Yes.
quick comment. I really like the graphs showing the snapshot of the parish. I thought you did a great job on that.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Wascom. Ms. Sandifer? Mr. Goff?
Yeah, I'll make one quick comment. You know, being a finance chair and things of that nature, I get to dabble into this a little bit more in detail than a lot of us. And the findings, and I want to just go back to the different findings as a group and how they relate. And I know Mr. Dean's not here, but he had a question about, you know, like how we fixing those, et cetera. And that's the spreadsheet. They're going to do a little presentation, the administration is. And the spreadsheet that you have in front of you is basically the solution to what they found. And it's kind of a chain reaction. So we had mentioned it before that if you raise someone's house, you get federal dollars. And that's just money that comes in that we have to manage and facilitate. But when you raise someone's house, the federal comes in with a certain amount, and then state may have some, but then the individual also has to have some. So there's a lot of pieces to that pie, and those monies are coming in and out as expenditures to the contractors, but also as the revenue coming in, and then parish manages that. So when you have one glitch, like you have in your checkbook, you have one glitch in your checkbook, it's a chain reaction down the road. And you got to go back and find it, and you got to fix that problem. Then you got to fix the other problems to where you get it, okay, everything's where it needs to be. And that's kind of what has happened here, except it's with grants and it's a lot of money. But the spreadsheet that you have in front of you solves these problems. And that is when the dollars come in, they're assigned a project number, which they kind of were before. But this is a snapshot. And I told them, and they all agree, that us council members, administration, want to be able to get up, walk out that door, a new council, a new administration come in the back door, be able to pick up all the documents and paperwork and be able to figure out where it's at. Just like if I hand you, John, my checkbook, you should be able to, if we all know how to do a checkbook balance, you should be able to go back a year and see what I had in the bank, what I spent money on, and how I got to where I'm at. And that's what we did with this spreadsheet, solved all of those problems in a recap of all of this stuff. It's a lot of information, and it's a lot of legal terms because it's got to be turned into legislative auditor and a lot of timelines. So I just want to make sure everyone knows that, yes, it was a problem. It is big numbers, but it really is not as catastrophic as what some people might think it is, and the problems have been addressed. And I cannot echo, not so much Mr. Mickey, right? We know who does the work, and that's the two sitting next to him. So I can't echo enough to them on the work that they've done, but also Mr. Mickey. And they'll do a presentation, and you'll realize just how much they've delved into this. I'm going to shut up now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Goff. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Do we need a motion?
We're moving on to
They got to do their presentation.
okay. That's not on it. No, they're done. Yeah, they're done. All right. We're moving on to Fire Protection District number 5. This is to adopt a resolution granting approval of Fire Protection District number 5 to call and hold an election on Saturday, November 15th, 2025 for a levy and collection of 5 mil tax for a period of 20 years.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe the chief and Wes are here. Wes, I didn't get a chance to say hi to you. This is as you said, it's a 20-year 5 mil tax for Fire District 5, and they're asked to be on the November ballot.
Okay. This is for the purpose of paying for the cost of acquiring and constructing fire protection facilities, maintaining, operating, developing the district's fire protection facilities, purchasing fire trucks and other firefighting equipment, including movable and immovable property, constituting work for public improvements, and paying the cost of obtaining water for fire protection purposes, including charges for the fire hydrant rental and service.
Mr. Chairman, I'll put that in the form of a motion to adopt the resolution.
Is there anybody to speak for or against it? Public comment? Yeah. I'm going to let him speak first, Mr. Wascom. What? He can speak first, right?
I'll second the motion.
All right, we do have a motion by Mr. Wascom, and we do have a second by Mr. Goff.
Thank you. I appreciate the time and the ability to come up here and speak to you guys. We are still working on the same 10.14 that we've worked on for the last 40 years. We're at a point now, we are the fastest growing fire district in this parish. And between Jubin Road and all of the residential and the commercial, and we are in need, according to the Insurance Rating Commission, to build another station in the Cook Road extension area with the houses, the apartments, with the commercial, with Target coming. And if we don't build, we will lose our rating because we just don't have enough facilities or equipment to maintain what we do have.
And if I could stop you 1 second, if their rating goes lower, everybody's homeowners insurance will go up.
That is correct.
And how many calls do you receive a year?
We run about 4,000 calls a year. We cover 27 square miles, and we run an average of 4,000 calls a year, and we run multiple calls at a time, which is some of this money will go to some additional manpower as well.
That's amazing.
If I take 4 of you guys up there right now and say your house is on fire and your house is on fire, somebody fell in the yard and somebody got in a wreck on the interstate, and I can only have 2 people on shift, somebody's got to decide which 2 calls we're going to go to. If we don't have the equipment or the manpower, we're not going to be able to run all of these calls, and it gets busier every day. I wish Mr. Taylor was here because he was an eyewitness to one of those nights when I had 3 pretty big calls working at the same time, and we managed to get covered. Right now, I've got 4 stations, and I've got 1 man at each of those stations round the clock. And by putting this 5th station on, and it's going to be busy because of the interstate and because of all of the Jubin Road traffic and everything, that we're going to need to probably man it with 2 people instead of 1. And right now, we just don't have the funds, guys. And if you look at my list that I gave you of trucks, the newest truck I have is 11 years old. And the oldest tankers that we have, they're 38 years old. And we were down in French Settlement a couple weeks ago on that house that burnt down on the river, bringing water down there because they didn't have a water supply and they needed our trucks. So it's not just my district. We help other districts help us with a mutual aid situation. Guys, I know it's tough. I know it's tough for the millage. I'm just asking you to let us put it on the ballot. We're putting it on the not even the primary. We're not putting it on a small ballot. We're putting it on the biggest general election we've got this year, and let the people decide whether. Now we did some comparisons, and it's going to be probably cost on the average house about $4 a month increase in their taxes. If not, and we lose our rating, it's going to cost more than that, guys.
A lot more than that.
And I know it's tough because I live in that district. I pay taxes in that district. I have business in that district. But when it comes down to it, I'm asking you to let people decide, what our future is. I'll answer any questions if anybody's got any questions.
All right. Do we have any questions from the council members?
I have a quick, just a.
Do you request to speak?
Oh, sorry. So, do you know how much the 5 mills would generate?
Yes, it'll generate roughly, according to the tax assessor, about $900,000 a year, of which we're probably going to bond out about 65% or 70% of it up front to pay to build the building Now, and let me say, Jubilee Crossing's been very generous. They gave us a piece of property that appraised at $1,200,000.
Right.
That it didn't cost us any money. The state gave us $375,000 that we cleared it with and brought in all the dirt. I mean, it's site ready to put a building, to start to do a building.
Mr. Goff, that number is in the second page of the resolution you have in your packet in the proposition. It's $900,000.
Gotcha. So I'm just trying to put it in perspective that your ask is not drastic. I would be asking for more if I was sitting on your board. I'm just saying. I come from the fire service. I know what it takes, and I don't like taxes, but I know that they're going to get it out of my pocket, whether it's to you to come to my house for a call, and I'm not in your district, but I fought fires with you.
That's right.
But they're going to get it, or the insurance company's going to get it. And I've said this before with the other fire districts. Who you want to give your money to? I'm sitting at a table. Do I want to give it to my local fire chief that's going to come help me, or do I want to give it to my insurance company? That's where we're at. But to put it in perspective again, the $950,000, can you please explain what one fire truck with equipment costs for you to purchase? And you have your newest one is 11 years old.
That's correct. Right.
Please just tell us what that is.
A brand
so
new
everybody
truck, and I'm not talking about the Cadillac of Cadillacs, a run-of-the-mill is $950,000 to $1 million, and that's ready to go. Look, an air pack now is $9,200, and thank God for Valerie Hodges that helped us buy 19. Thank God for you guys with the opioid money, or we would not have been able to supply the AEDs or the chest compression machines we need when we go out on medical calls, because we don't have the money.
Again, I go back to the fact that I think you should be asking for more. And I know you and I have discussed this, and you know the pulse of the people in this community, and you're like, I just can't. I want to make sure that we get this passed, because if we don't, then we suffer. So you're asking for what I consider the bare minimum or below. And I commend you for that.
Thank you.
And if there's anything that I need to do or can try to do to help support your efforts and the guys' efforts, I'm there.
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure everyone understands that it's $950,000. That's one truck.
All right.
That's it. Thank
Do
you.
we have anyone else
Thank
to
you.
speak? Thank you, Fire Chief Joe.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Ryan, do you need to speak anymore?
No, sir.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Seconded by Mr. Wascom. No, seconded by Mr. Goff, made by Mr. Wascom. You can vote on your iPads. All right, that passed 7-2 with the absent being 2, so it's unanimous. All right, that will be on the ballot come November 15th. Thank you. All right, the next one we have is adopt a resolution granting approval to Fire Protection District Number 8 to call and hold an election on Saturday, November 15th, 2025 for the renewal, levy, and collection of 13.11 mil tax for a period of 10 years for the purpose of maintaining and operating the district's fire protection facilities, for purchasing fire truck and other firefighting equipment, and paying the cost of attaining water for fire protection purposes, including charges for the hydrant rentals and services. Jim Ryan from Government Consulting will speak on this.
Thank you, Chairman Mangus. This is in Councilman Coates' district. I was notified tonight by the district that they have filed paperwork to roll their tax forward to 15 mils. The original tax that was passed was for 16.91 mils. That's what the voters originally approved. Since that time, the district has rolled that tax back to 13.11. I was informed this evening that they wish to roll it forward to 15. So if this resolution passes, I would ask the clerk to please amend the resolution to show 15 mils instead of 13.11. That is a decision that I would defer to the council and especially Councilman Coates as to whether or not y'all want to do that. As Councilman Coates and I have discussed, even if you put it back on the ballot at 15 mils, that now becomes the new maximum. If you put it back on the ballot at 13.11, that becomes the new maximum. So to recap, the voters originally approved 16.911 mils. That is the current maximum. The district has rolled it back over the years to 13.11 mils, and they were going to put it on the ballot as a renewal at 13.11 mils. If that is approved by the voters, that is the new maximum, 13.11. The district informed me this evening that they have already filed the paperwork with the assessor to roll the tax forward to 15, which ultimately the council will have to sign off on when the council certifies the roll, which will probably be next month or September.
But they don't have to take 15 mils. As long as it's there, they could take the 13.
Ultimately, you all will decide that in the next month or two. Is it, even if it goes on the ballot at 15, when the rolls are presented to you all, for you all to certify the rolls, you all can say, yeah, that's great, it's on the ballot at 15, but we think you only need 13.11 or 13 and a half or 4, whatever number you all decide. And again, I don't mean to speak for Councilman Coates. That's why we've been running around having sidebars. So did I explain that correctly, Councilman Coates?
Yes, sir, you did. And, you kind of took my thunder away because you explained it too much, but that's okay.
I apologize.
So bottom line is, just as Mr. Ryan had said, the tax was voted in at 16.91. They've reduced it over the years. We're going to put in for a new tax, or not a new tax, I'm sorry, a renewal of the tax at a lower percentage or a lower mill, which is going to be 15. Then if they could still manage within their 13 like they've been doing, we can always pull it back some more. So that's what we're looking to do.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, that's my understanding, that it's not necessarily that they're going to levy 13.11, but they understand that if they renew on the ballot at 13.11, they have forever lost the ability to roll it back up. So again, started at 16.9. My humble opinion, they've done a great job of rolling it back to 13.11. I think what they're really asking is let's not take our cap down to 13.11 for a 10-year period in the future.
Right.
So I'll go ahead and make that motion.
Councilman Coates, I think it might be best practices to first make a motion to amend the resolution to 15 mils.
That's what I was going to say.
That's what I was going to suggest. Yes.
Okay, do we have a motion, Mr. Coates?
Yes, motion is to amend the resolution to 15 mils.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll happily say.
All right, we have a second with we have a motion by Mr. Coates, we have a second by Mr. Watts. I have a quick question, Caroline Raven, Miss Raven. As far as advertising and everything goes?
We'll re-advertise. We will have to re-advertise, but we'll take care of that.
Okay. All right. So do we have any discussion? Should we open?
Roll
Anyone
call
open up? Anybody wish to speak for or against? Do we have any cards? Okay. Any questions from the council? Okay. This is to amend it. Right. Vote on your iPads. Okay, that motion to amend to 15 mils passed unanimously.
Now I would suggest
Yes.
a motion to adopt the resolution as amended by the council. Correct,
Yes.
Counselor?
Now we need to accept the agenda item number 11, but as amended to the 15 mils.
Make that motion.
Mr. Coates made that motion, and Mr. Erdy seconded. Any discussion for or against? Okay. Being no discussion, you may vote on your iPad. Yeah, Dean Coates made it, and Mr. Coates made it, and Mr. Erdy seconded. All right, vote on your iPads. Mr. Watts.
Just if you want to double check for public comment first.
Okay.
On the new motion.
Do we have any public comment? Okay, the floor is closed for public comment. All right, that motion passed, 7 with 2 absent, so unanimously. Thank you, Mr.
Chairman,
Ryan.
members of the council.
Also, thank you, Ms. Day. She represents the Fire Protection District 8, and she's here today. Stand up, Ms. Day. Okay, moving on to, we're going to adopt the minutes from the July 10th regular meeting of the Livingston Parish Council.
I'll make that motion.
All right, we have a duly made motion by Mr. Goff. Do we have a second? Mr. Wascom seconded. Any discussion? All right, vote on your iPad. There being no discussion. Okay, that motion passed unanimously, 6 with 3 being absent. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 13, Department of Public Works, Mr. Robert Duga.
Hello, sir.
How you doing? Yes, sir.
Need a motion?
Okay.
Correct.
Right. So it's Arbor Walk, the 8th filing.
Yes, sir.
So can you speak to that before we vote on it?
It's ready to go.
So that we're going to do letter I and 2I, which is accept roads and improvements in the parish maintenance system and release $104,123.40 of the maintenance bond. So this is Cinder Drive, Section 25, 17S, RG, R3E, and it's in my council district 6. All right, and you're in favor?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'll make that motion based on Mr. Dugas's in-depth recommendation.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion made by Mr. Goff, seconded by Mr. Watts. Any discussion? I need to open the public comment. Do we have any comment from the audience? There being no comment from the audience, vote on your iPads, please. Okay, that motion passed unanimously. All right, now, Mr. Dugas, don't leave yet. We have adopted a resolution authorizing the final acceptance of the contract with Baker Pile Driving and Site Work LLC as complete for the Livingston Parish Forest Delat and Road Improvement Project through the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, State Project number 11.011828.
That's H dot. All state projects have an H number.
It is an 8. It's an 8. Thank you, sir. I stand corrected.
So this is just like to finish up a 2059 on state-funded projects. You have to do a 2059. Once they have all the paperwork, they've checked all the boxes, we have to come back before the council, and the council officially adopts it, the completion of the project. That's what this is. The next 2 items.
The stripes look nice.
This is for the pilings for the bridge.
No, so this would be Forest Delat, Forest Delat construction.
When they replace that bridge on there for the pilings.
And overlaid the rest of the road.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. John Wascom. Do we have a second? Ms. Sandifer, seconded. Anybody from the public wish to speak for or against? Anybody in the council? All right. Being no discussion, you may vote on your iPad. Okay, thank you. That motion passed unanimously. 13C, adopt a resolution authorizing the final acceptance of the contract with Barriere Construction Company LLC as complete for the Livingston Parish Amite Church Road Improvement Project through the Louisiana Department of Transportation Development State Project H014-358.
All right, this is the same thing, other than the only thing here, Amite Church Road is now a parish road. It was done in a previous administration by what they call a road transfer fund. So basically the state comes in, they fix the road up, and they say, okay, parish, now it's yours. So Amite Church Road would now be a parish road.
And as this road is in my district, I've traveled it a good bit, and it is fantastic. So I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Wascom. Do we have a second?
I don't think they want to go.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Mr. Watts, second it. All right. Any questions from the public? For or against? Any questions from the council? All right, vote on your iPads. All right, that motion passed unanimously.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Dugas. All right, moving on to number 14, public hearing and adoption of LP Ordinance 2510, amend Chapter 125 subdivision regulations, Article 5 subdivisions with improvements, Section 125-68, procedures for subdivisions with improvements. This came to my attention that Planning and Zoning would like to defer this and send it back to Planning and Zoning because they're not ready for it yet. However, if anybody wishes to speak, I'm open it to... Okay. Ms. Caroline's going to read it by title.
This is proposed LP Ordinance 25-10, an ordinance to amend Chapter 125 subdivision regulations, Article V subdivisions with improvements, Section 125-68, procedures for subdivisions with improvements of the Code of Ordinances of Livingston Parish as follows.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Caroline. Open public hearing. Anyone wish to speak for or against? Do you have any cards? Okay, with no one to speak for or against, we'll close the public hearing. Yes, Ms. Sandifer.
I have some questions, Mr. King. Why, I'm just curious. I've tracked this down, and I think we introduced it a couple of months ago, and it's, to me, it's pressing. And so, do you have some sort of a ballpark timeline as to when it would come back? Because it's
something Mr. Steve and them were working on, and they're working on it now, and they need to get it back to P&Z so that they can hammer out some details. He's still working on some wording so they get it just right. We don't want to have to do it twice.
Is there any way that we could move it forward and come back and amend it with the wording that you want to change?
I agree with Ms. Sandifer. We've been on this for a long time, and if something's not correct, we can come back and use the system we have and make the amendments. But it's something I feel like we should move forward on. I will defer to the legal team, but I think in the past we have done this. We adopted it, had the public hearing, and if something's just not right, then we'll go ahead and amend it.
Mr. Irving?
We can do that. There's several procedural things that we're putting together that are potentially all going to fit together. So we can do that and clean it up when we...
Okay.
Does
Thank you
this
so much.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Irving, does this include the 1710?
I don't think this includes. That's one of the other ones that we're going to do. The 12710.
Yes.
That procedure. The R1.5, which is going to come before you in a minute. There's a thing in the works for R5 that's been discussed.
And those would be it later. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
So do I need to make a substitute to accept?
I don't think we need to make a substitute because it's already on there, right?
But we got, I thought we had a motion on the floor. I'm sorry.
Okay. So,
So,
just need a motion. then.
Motion to adopt.
I'll second that happily.
Okay, we have a motion to adopt the motion read by Caroline, by Ms. Sandifer, seconded by Mr. Goff. Do we have any discussion?
So we're not sending it back to planning and zoning.
We're gonna pass it, and they can take it and make whatever amends they need to it and then come back to us. So what this is it's got to do with the preliminary meeting, and it takes it from an informal discussion to an applicant to a more formal process.
It changes stages, the way we had set it up 3, 4, 5 years ago. Yeah, and so it'll go back to P&Z and they'll make some amendments, and then it comes to you guys and y'all vote on it as amended and just put it back in place.
All right, any further discussion? Okay, vote on your iPads. Okay, that motion passed unanimously. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 15, public hearing and adoption of LP Ordinance 2508. That's amend Chapter 117 Zoning Division 4 R2 Residential Single Family, Section 117-155. Purpose amending maximum overall density of housing units, and Section 117-157 Site and Structure Provisions, amending minimum width requirements. That was made by Ricky Goff. Caroline, can you read it by title?
This is proposed ordinance 25-08, an ordinance to amend Chapter 117 zoning, Division 4, R2 residential single family, Section 117-155, purpose, amending the maximum overall density of housing units in Section 117-157, site and structure provisions, amending minimum width requirements of the Livingston Parish Code of Ordinances.
Okay, this opens the public hearing. Is there anyone to speak for or against this item? Yeah, it's Ricky's, but Ms. Caroline, do we have any cards? Okay. Mr. Goff, do you have any?
Yes, this was generated, and since then I've had multiple discussions with citizens as well as council members. It's very simple. It's just going from a 60-foot lot in an R2 status to a 65-foot lot to give it a little bit more width. One of the things that is changed, on a 60-foot lot, you have a 6-foot setback, and just because of the way the language was, it allowed a 65-foot lot to be 6 foot, but that's going to go away in this, and it's proposed tonight to be 65 foot with a 7-foot setback. So basically, what happens is some of these neighborhoods we see, the houses have, at that point, they could have 12 feet in between them because of the setback between the two houses. Each one has to be set back 12 feet. With it going to 7 foot, it gives them 14 feet. I'm actually open to discussion if somebody wants to amend it or change it, because I know we have bounced it around back and forth. So,
okay, I forgot to close the public hearing. Right. So we need to amend it. All right. Do we have any discussion for Mr. Well, first of all, we need a motion before we have discussion. Okay.
I didn't make a motion.
No.
That's what is on the agenda for us tonight, and it's, if y'all want me to make a motion, then we'll amend the motion. But I know that several of you have come to me wishing to maybe increase the width a little bit more and not beat up the developer any, very much more. But also there was some concern about the setback going from 7 to 8, and I'm just stating that I'm perfectly fine with that. And if I need to make a motion to amend it, I'm okay with that. Making the motion to amend it to 68 foot wide and an 8-foot setback line. And then what that does is it gives 16 foot in between each house, which is a little bit more navigable for each homeowner. I say, they got 8 foot on each one of their properties.
And for gravity drainage.
And then the 68 foot just makes it a little bit wider. So if no one has any objection to that, I'll make the motion to amend the ordinance to reflect, as we did before with the other one. I make a motion that we amend it to reflect an 8-foot setback line and 68-foot minimum lot size.
Okay, that's the motion. Do we have a second? Mr. Watts seconded. Mr. Goff
Well,
made the motion.
I'd like to
Okay,
chime in real quick.
Do we have any discussion?
Mr. Goff, 68 might be confusing to some of the builders and you're trying to get things going. Would you consider amending it to 70?
I don't have an opposition to that. I think that they engineers and they deal with numbers all the time. I'm just trying not to impose, but get to a better looking development as we drive down the street and going from 68 to 70. I think the key here is more so even from that is the setback by going to an 8-foot setback. So what you see in the neighborhoods now, for the most part, is a 6-foot setback. So you have 12 foot between each one of them. Now we're going to go to 16 foot between each one. To me, that's more important than adding a few more feet to the lot. And if we go to 68, it gives us a little bit of all things. We're going from 60 foot minimum and a 6-foot setback, and now we're going to go to a 68 foot minimum with an 8-foot setback. That's a pretty good size step. So I personally am very comfortable with the 68 and 8. That's just me, but whatever you wish to.
All right, if anybody else wishes to speak, just press your button. There be no further discussion. Oh, Mr. Erdy, sorry.
I think Dean, Mr. Goff, took it away from me, but I was leaning more towards 70 to keep it even number for the buyers and the builders, for everybody involved. So I like 70 to be taken into consideration. Anybody's with that?
You'd have to make a substitute.
Again, I'm perfectly okay with it. Just understand that 100 lots going from 60 to 65, if my math remembers correctly, it takes 4 lots out of the equation. From a developer standpoint, it takes 4 lots out of the equation. So you figure for the cost of 4 lots, this is what I tussle with. You have 4 lots out of the equation, and then you have 4 homes out of the equation. So let's just say as a rule of thumb that we take $400,000 out of their pocket. You still have the road, you still have the drainage, still have the sewer, you still have all that cost. So the person that's paying that is the other lot owners, the property owners. So when you do the math, it's a $4,000 increase in that home. So that's why I push it as far as I can, knowing that the ultimate person that's going to pay for it is the one that's buying the house. So I believe in my heart that at 68, they're going to probably pay about $4,000 to $5,000. I don't think that's going to make a difference with the person purchasing that home, but it could. I mean, I've been there before buying my first home, and $5,000 is $5,000. So when you do to 70, that could push that number up and get it closer to a $10,000 difference per lot. So that's the only reason I say 68.
Potentially, or it could potentially make it lower. We don't know what the market's going to do in the futures, but we had a lot of people, personally I did, when I was campaigning, that flooding was a huge, huge scare for everyone. There are people that get scared and they're afraid every time it rains. And all I'm saying is, if we go a little bit bigger lot, then maybe it wouldn't be as apt to flood on us when we get 5,000 lots come through. Just something to think about.
This is all great discussion, and I'm going to have one more quick thing to say.
Do we need are you proposing a substitute motion?
So I'm going to have one quick more thing to say to kind of help
everyone
go with with the
Because we do have a motion
68
on the
foot.
table.
What I'm going to try to work on moving forward, and Mr. John's one that kind of got my brain started wrapping around this, and what I would like to see, and I say this a lot, how do I envision Livingston Parish? Well, I envision that this is going to help us with our small homes, give a little bit more width between them, allow that first-time home buyer to have a better experience, but it still be a price point for them to be able to afford. The other part of that is what I'm hoping that we can do moving forward is when we have our, whatever the code of deal is for development of a piece of property, what is that called? I'm sorry? What does that stand for?
Unified
Yeah,
Land
the
Development
Unified
Code.
Development Code, thank you. The Unified Development Code, have that structured where we take a percentage. I'm all about balancing. The man needs to make a property, or the lady needs to make a profit off selling the home and developing the property. We need to keep that price point so our young new starters can move forward. So what I'm hoping for is we can come up with some language. Another reason why to keep it at 68. We can come up with some language that will give us a percentage basis. And somebody may never heard of this yet, but I'm gonna throw it out there. Is have a percentage basis that we have 20% of let's say it's an R2 status. We're talking about this. They can go with 68-foot lots all the way around. But if we can put some language out there that in the Unified Development Code that when you develop a piece of property with X amount of lots, X amount of lots, that 20% of those pieces of property have to reflect the R1.5 lot size. For example, R1.5 is a half-acre lot. So if you have 100 lots, then 20 of those lots would have to be half acres. So if you picture, what I would picture is they have some, it doesn't matter where they're at, but if they have some quirky looking size properties, they could put that one in there. But what I envision is the main street being one size and then the back being something else, and that property owner in the back getting a better job or whatever and deciding that a house comes for sale on the front street and they have the opportunity to move on the front street. Now the front street's not going to have this, in my vision, the front street's not going to be that difference of a house. It'll just have better trim, a little bit bigger lot, maybe a front porch. But that's my vision.
Right, and we do
forward,
have
why I still believe that we shouldn't go to.
We are working
70.
on a motion to ordinance to include R2 in that. All right, Mr. Coates, did you have something you want to say?
Yeah, I'm still going. By what you just said, you want to have X number of lots that go into half-acre lots. If that occurs, then the 2 foot would be very minimal compared to having to go to the full half-acre lot on X number of lots.
So do you want to make an amended motion, or?
Did you got your second already?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to make an amended motion.
Substitute motion, sorry.
Substitute motion to make it 70-foot width on those lots.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, we have a substitute motion by Mr. Coates. We have a second by Mr. Erdy. Let's vote on that. Right. Oh, do we have to have open public? Okay, anyone from the public wish to speak for or against the substitute motion? Okay, we'll close public hearing. Any discussion? Mr. Delatte.
I want to ask a question. What is that, the 8-foot setback? It's still the same? The reason I'm asking, guys, you can also get a cost benefit the wider you put those houses to the public. What I mean by that, insurance and building codes. The closer the house is, the more fire safety you have to have them. And the building codes has from 5 foot on going up. So 15 foot would be a great thing between two houses for insurance and building code purposes.
Well, Mr. Goff's original motion would be 16 feet, right? Okay. Right.
So I guess the clarification is I'm not against Mr. Coach's motion. I just want to make sure that we had the same setback. Is that what we're talking about? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
It's just the size of the lot, then.
That's correct.
Minimum
The
size.
minimum size, correct.
So, to Mr. Randy's, what he is saying, my original motion, which you're fixing to try to trump, no, I'm fine with it. This is good, healthy discussion.
I'm not trying to trump, I'm trying to.
I understand, but
add just a little bit more room.
Right, well, what the part you're leaving out is the setback. So I made the motion to move it from 7 to 8 foot setback and 68 foot. That's my amendment, because the ordinance as it's written is 7 foot setback. It should be 7.
It
for a
originally
65
was
foot.
6 in the original ordinance, and then the ordinance proposed tonight was going to be 7.
7.
Seven.
And he
So the
switched
initial
it to
motion
8.
was to
So if you
amend it
just
to 8.
make a substitute motion to move it to 70 and don't also include the 8 foot, then we're moving the houses closer together, but making the lot wider.
So do we have to have a?
You understand?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Does he have to amend his
So-
motion?
All right, so just,
I think Mr. Coates' initial intent on that motion was to not change the motion, the original motion's 8-foot setback, only to change the minimum lot size, right, from 68
that
to
is
70.
correct, yes.
So the substitute motion would be to amend
Okay.
the ordinance to 70 feet minimum width, 8-foot setback.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor, substitute motion. It's for minimum setbacks of 8 feet.
That's correct, it's 70-foot width and
70
8-foot
width,
setbacks.
8-foot setback.
Yes.
Okay. There be no more discussion, vote on your iPad. Okay, that motion passed. So since that passed, we don't have to, okay, right.
Can I
Okay.
make one comment? That is a tough decision for me, people, because the cost of the lot, but I'm just hoping that we can keep that price point in there somewhere. And when I say that is I'm hoping that that developer that is out there tries to eat up some of that extra 6,000 or whatever it is per lot. I'm hoping that he eats it up some. That's what I'm hoping.
All right.
All right. Thank y'all. Good discussion.
Moving on to, so, sorry. Adopt as amended. As Mr. Goff says, let there be law. Okay. All right.
Make a motion to adopt
Okay, we're going to open up public hearing one more time. Mr. Dean, Coach, you want to state it one more time?
Yes, what we want to do is make the minimum lot size of subdivisions no less than 70 feet with 8-foot setbacks on each side.
On R2.
Correct.
Anybody wish to speak for or against this on the
I'll
public
second
hearing?
the motion.
All right, there are no cards. All right, close public hearing. Yeah, we vote on this? Okay, any discussion? Okay, vote on your iPad. Okay, that passed unanimously. All right. Item number 16 on the agenda. Public hearing and adoption of LP Ordinance 25-09, amend Chapter 117 zoning, Division 3.1, classification R-1.5 residential, rural, single-family, sections 117-150 to reactivate the zoning classification of residential, rural, single-family, R-1.5. This was made by Chairman Billy Taylor. However, Mr. Taylor is absent, so he has requested that we defer this to the August 14th. Okay, Miss Caroline, can you please read this by title?
This is proposed ordinance 25-09, an ordinance to amend Chapter 117 zoning to reactivate the zoning classification Division 3.1 residential rural single-family R-1.5, sections 117-148 through section 117-150 of the Livingston Parish Code of Ordinance.
Okay,
Motion.
anyone to, we have to have a public hearing because it was advertised. We need to open the public hearing. Anyone to speak for or against this item? Do we have any cards?
Yeah. Carol
Okay.
Semino.
All right, Mr. Semino.
Are y'all gonna defer it tonight?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Maybe.
I'll wait till the August meeting.
August 14th.
Okay,
All right,
thank
thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I'm closing public hearing. Comments from council members? Being no comments, then we will defer that to, do we need a motion to defer? Okay. All right, Mr. Wascom? Motion. Okay, motion to defer August 14th. Do we have a second?
I make the motion to defer to August 14th.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Mr. Erdy? We have a duly made motion and a second. Any questions? All right, vote on your iPad. Okay, that motion by Mr. Wascom, seconded by Mr. Erdy, passed unanimously. Okay, item 17, public hearing and adoption of LP Ordinance 2513, an ordinance to amend Chapter 50 of the Code of Ordinances of Livingston Parish, offenses, miscellaneous sections 50-16, littering. This is authored by Councilman Ryan Shavers. Caroline, please read by title.
This is proposed LP ordinance 25-13, an ordinance to amend Chapter 50 of the Code of Ordinances of Livingston Parish, offenses dash miscellaneous, section 50-16, littering as followed.
Okay, do we have anyone to speak for or against this on the open public hearing? Do we have anybody to speak for or against it? Do we have any cards? We have no cards. Anyone to speak for or against? Okay, closing public hearing. Council members' comments. Mr. Erdy was, I think, first in the queue. Mr. Erdy?
Yes. Linda, could you come up, please, on this? I think you and I have been working together on quite a few projects on this offense and littering type stuff, and I'd like for you to explain maybe to all of us how we've come along and where we at with, how we're trying to protect, stop all this littering. And
Well, I believe that the residents of this parish have already noticed significant change in our parish with littering.
Right.
And I believe that the call is out there that it's gonna be a cleaner parish. It's gonna take some more time, but we're working on it. I mean, we have a very good program. We have very good collaboration with different entities that are helping us, like the Sheriff's Department.
Right.
With their trustees 5 days a week. I mean, we can't get better than that.
I'm really very pleased at the way things are just starting to come together, because we're getting stuff and we're trying to educate the people. Once we clean you up, don't do it again. We're trying to let the people know, don't throw it back out once all that's cleaned up time after time.
Yes.
But I want to thank you. I just want everybody to know she is doing absolutely a wonderful job, and I thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Anybody else have anything to say on that?
I would like Mr. Joe to tell everyone where she's from, where most good people are from. Tell them, Mr. Joe. Albany.
Albany, yeah. North of Albany, but Albany. That's right.
Mr. Goff?
I guess we should do it after the motion, but, Attorney, I know there was some discussion about the penalties and the fees, and you've looked over it, and we're good to go, and.
Yeah, so all these penalties and fees are equal to what state law provides. They don't exceed it.
Yes.
So everything's fine.
I had a question. I consulted with a attorney and criminal attorney, and he said that when you had discussed about receiving a first offense and then before the second, there can be what's called a cleansing period. This particular law in the state doesn't have a cleansing period. So I would think that we would need to do that, because if you got your first offense and then 10 years later you get your second, that should have dropped off.
Yeah, so, I mean, one way an individual can get it taken off is if it is their first offense, and let's say that's the only thing they've ever done criminal in their life. After a certain number of years, they can file for an expungement and have that first conviction expunged off their record. So it wouldn't be allowed to be used to enhance a second offense if they go through the process of having it expunged. Other than that, you're right, there will be no cleansing period. So if they don't do that, 10, 15 years later, they get caught littering again, it's going to be a second offense.
Unless we amend this ordinance to have a cleansing period.
Correct.
Right. So that's.
I think, I know an expungement is expensive, and sometimes it's just political, and it sometimes avails nothing. So I'd like to see a cleansing period in there. I mean, I was thinking 6 months, but I could go a year after this. You know, if you go for a year, you're rewarding good behavior. So if someone goes for a year and they've learned their lesson, then I'd say we remove it. I'd like to make a motion to amend it just to add with a 1-year cleansing period.
All right, do we have that would be an amended motion, right?
A motion to amend first.
Motion to amend first. Do we have a second?
Can I ask a question about your amendment?
Can we have we need a second first before we have discussion.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a second.
Okay.
A motion, amended motion by Mr. Wascom, second by Mr. Coates. Yes, Mr. Goff.
So 1 year, we're setting a precedence, and we're making some headway after the first offense. 1 year it falls off. I think that's a little too lenient. Second offense is $1,500, right? So my thought is that we look at it, if you get to the second offense after 4 years, 5 years, and they don't have another infraction, then they fall off and you start over. Because that's the step before you lose your license and everything else. So then you kind of reset. But if you do it the first time and you're within that 5 year or whatever, and you do it again, then it's going to cost you money. Pay the bill. You didn't learn your lesson. But if you can go and be mature enough and really show that you've done what you need to do for a 5 year period, then you don't need to lose your driver's license and all of those things. But if in that time frame, even if you want to go to 3 years, I'm okay with that. But I think it should be after the second offense. First offense, second offense, then after that second offense, then if you go 3 years, it can be taken off.
Well, I was initially referring it to being after the second offense.
Okay.
So, and I was thinking, I initially heard 6 months, but I mean, I think that's probably a little short, so I went a year, but I think 5's a little long, so I could do 3, Ricky.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to amend it for 3 years after the second offense, yes.
All right. Do we have a second on that?
You already have a second.
Right, but Mr. Coates already seconded it, but we're now amending it again, right? Yeah. Are you okay with it, Mr. Coates? Okay, did you wish to speak, Mr. Coates?
Yes, I just wanted to make a statement, and it's going to be short as usual. But Mr. Goff, you were just talking a few minutes ago about how you want to make things affordable for people to buy houses, but when you start talking about $1,700, you could be paying a house note.
I don't want you to trash my parish. You trash my parish, you pay.
No, and they would be paying. They would be paying on the first offense as well, you know?
And you trash my parish again.
Okay.
You remember the school board superintendent came in here? And they have certain guidelines, and unfortunately, they end up in the school that has a lot more guidance. And you hope that they learned, and then they come out of that.
That's
So-
good. I heard
Okay.
what he said. I'm just saying, it just seems like a contradiction.
All right, do we have one at a time? Do we have we have a motion? We have a second? All right. All right, the motion is to basically mirror the state law, but except for we have a 3-year cleansing period after the first offense. Second offense. All right, vote on your iPad. All right, that motion passed unanimously. Adopt as amended. Do we need another motion? Okay, we need another motion to adopt as amended. Ms. Sandifer made that motion, thank you. Second? Mr. Wascom seconded. Do we have to open the people? Anyone else wishes to speak for or against? All right. Close public hearing. Any questions from council members? Okay, vote on your iPads, please. Very good. That motion passed unanimously. We now have new litter regulations in the parish of Livingston. All right. Okay. Moving on to agenda item number 18, Livingston Parish Planning. Mr. Keene.
Yes. Yeah, but okay. All right. This is Livingston Parish Planning Commission. This is AT&T Tower, Nickens Lake site plan with a waiver.
Okay.
Planning and Zoning Commission voted to deny the final site plan.
Okay, this is the AT&T Tower, Nickens Lake site plans. They're requesting a waiver, right?
Yep.
Okay, and we do have someone to speak on this?
Yep. Liens, and Matt Adams, if they want to come together.
Hi.
Yeah, it's time.
Hey, good evening. Chip Lyons, 201 St. Charles Avenue, New Orleans, Louisiana, here along with Matt Adams on behalf of AT&T. We have two matters on the agenda this evening. AT&T is, and we'll address each of them separately, but generally AT&T is investing in infrastructure in Livingston Parish, looking to invest in infrastructure in order to keep up with existing and projected demand for cellular and wireless data services. So the first location that we have on the agenda is a site that we refer to as Nickens Lake. This is on Highway 1032 in Denham Springs. I want to try and get through this quickly. I know we don't have a lot of time, but this map shows existing coverage in this area. And basically, so these are other existing AT&T sites. This is what it's like in the Nickens Lake area without this tower. Other towers that are in blue, if you look around the tower, the red areas mean that if you have your cell phone, AT&T, and you have AT&T service, you will have in-building coverage. So if you're inside here, you would have coverage. If it's a green area, it means you would have service in your car. If it's a yellow area, it means you would probably have outdoor service, and if it's a blue area, it means you'd have kind of spotty coverage, if any. So that's what the current situation is. If we're get approval to construct this tower at Nickens Lake, you greatly expand the amount of coverage in that area, and that's going to be both phone calls, data, et cetera. Most people, as you know, no longer have landlines, so people are using their phones for work, for school, and for 911 services. For Nickens Lake, the request that we're making is to the tower complies with the parish's telecom ordinance, except for the distance from 1032, and that's where we need.
That's Forage Club Road in your district, right, Ms. Sandifer?
Yeah, so that's where we're requesting what the code refers to as a deviation, basically a waiver, a waiver to build the tower there. The reason that we're in this area to begin with is that AT&T's, it's not shown on this map, but basically their engineers look at the map that we just showed. They identify an area that doesn't have coverage, and they ask their site acquisition people to find something in that area where someone who's willing to have a tower on their property. It's a voluntary thing. We can't force anyone to have a tower on their property. AT&T's search ring is sort of over here near property owned by the school board. AT&T did talk to the school board. They talked to other people in this area. No one up there wanted, they didn't find a willing, sort of a willing landlord. This property owner is willing to lease property to AT&T. The location on this property where AT&T can go is a little restricted. The green area here is wetlands area. So from a tower construction perspective, the company generally tries to stay away from wetlands because of regulatory, time, uncertainty as to whether they would get approval, et cetera. The property owner is using this portions of the property. This leaves this area along 1032 available for the tower. There's already an existing curb cut here and utilities coming in here, I believe, so that's why the decision was made to go in this particular area. So the normal requirement for a setback, this would be a 195-foot tower. The normal requirement for a setback is tower height plus 30 feet.
That's our Livingston Parish ordinance.
Yes, sir. And that's the ordinance in a lot of different jurisdictions. The reason for that is at the time a lot of the ordinances were created, there was basically a thought that if a tower comes down, it's going to come down like a tree. And so therefore you don't want it to affect any adjoining property.
How close is this tower to the road?
Yeah, so the tower from the road, from the actual improved portion of the road, is about 85 feet. The tower from the property line is about 55 feet, 55 or 60 feet. There's a gap where there are existing utilities and right-of-way from the property line to the road. So from the road itself, it's about 85 feet.
And this tower is 195 feet?
It is, but
so you're asking for a waiver of the difference of the 110 feet plus 30 feet, really?
Yeah, so the waiver that AT&T is asking for in this situation, it's a 195-foot tower, 235-foot setback requirement from the property line, which is 58, 60 feet. So it's about a 170-foot waiver, 170-foot waiver, give or take, that AT&T is requesting. The reason AT&T is comfortable making that request, and it's similar to requests that they make in other jurisdictions, is tower technology now and engineering technology allows them to design a tower. So the tower is going to be designed to meet all applicable codes, wind load, et cetera.
Is this a monopole tower?
This is a three-sided tower. So
it's not a zero fall.
Well, it actually is, because on a three-sided tower, and we have a fall letter from an engineer saying it would be designed for a 0-foot fall letter. So we have a signed, stamped fall letter from a Louisiana structural engineer. And what they do on three-sided towers is, and it's similar to what they do on a monopole, is that they design it with essentially a fail point further up on the tower so that if wind load or some other occurrence happens, it causes the tower to come down. Basically, instead of coming down like a tree, it folds over on itself. So that's how the towers are designed in order to justify coming in and making the request for a
All right,
setback variance.
thank you. Your time has expired. Do we have anybody for the public that wishes to speak on this particular agenda item, the tower in Nickens Lake? Yes, Mr. Latt.
Guys, I just want to forewarn y'all, there's 2 of these coming up, and whatever y'all do, make sure that y'all stay consistent. And the reason I said that is the planning and zoning department didn't do that. They was same 2 requests asked. They gave one, they denied, and the other one they approved. I just want to try to keep us out of legal. I don't care which way you do it, but just for future reference, if you do it one way and then the next one right behind them, you do it the opposite way, we may hit some legal. Don't care which way you do it, but.
So I have some questions.
Okay, do we have I'm sorry, one second. Do we need a motion first before we have discussion, or? Okay, yes. Yes.
Hello, Matt Adams, representing AT&T, 5550 South Sherwood, Baton Rouge. Good evening, Chair and members. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I wanted to read this into the record. I'll try not to be redundant and skip over things that Chip may have already covered. But I'm clearly here to request your support for these 2 critical cell sites. And I appreciate the conversations that we've all had individually, either over the phone or in meetings, to discuss the importance of these sites. I was asked by a couple of members to bring some statistics next time I came to speak because I thought that would be helpful. So wanted to share some facts with you. And they speak to the need, right? Since the early 2000s, mobile data usage in our country has increased by over 730,000%, right? So since 2021, mobile data usage has been doubling every 2 years. That's driven by video, cloud-based apps, smart devices, and location-based services. Today, 80% of 911 calls are made from mobile phones, not over landlines. And that number is even higher in an area like Livingston Parish, rural and suburban. So as you can imagine, first responders, law enforcement, fire, EMS rely heavily on mobile networks, not only for GPS, but for digital radio backup, push-to-talk, dispatch data, and direct communication with other agencies. So during natural disasters and local emergencies, our networks, cellular networks, often become the primary communications lifeline when other systems go down. So cellular service for us, we believe it's no longer a luxury or a convenience. It has been deemed critical infrastructure by state and federal, our state and federal government, and in many cases, it's the first line of defense between a crisis and a response. So these are targeted infrastructure investments designed to improve public safety, support local businesses, and ensure residents of the parish have access to modern, reliable connectivity. So the reality of the areas we're talking about, the 2 cell sites, they both suffer from suboptimal cellular coverage and capacity due to the distance between our existing towers. So it's common to see calls drop in these situations, signals cut in and out, and in some cases, first responders being forced to operate without reliable communication. So clearly, if someone in the parish is calling 911, we all want to be confident that the call connects. Paramedic, police officer, firefighter, trying to locate a resident or respond to an incident using geolocation technology, we certainly want to make sure they have the signal to do their job there. And these towers are designed to close those gaps so nobody is disconnected. So why these sites? And to get to the waivers, I know that granting waivers has sort of been a sore subject in terms of that, but I want to try to draw the distinction between the proposed waivers of saying subdividing a lot in maybe a different way or adding additional address on a tract of land. I've heard during debate, a couple of meetings I've been to, when maybe there's an additional home on a tract of land. What we're bringing to the council tonight is federally regulated infrastructure that's being placed there for the public good. It's providing an essential service to the public. And so there are, it's amazing amount of state, local, and federal stipulations and approvals that go into this on these sites. We've worked for over a year on both of these to do the due diligence, the research, the design and engineering, the site acquisition, DOTD permitting, federal permitting, and landowner negotiation. So we always work to avoid the need for setback waivers. You know, I mean, clearly it's in our best interest to avoid a situation where we're having to come and ask for setback waivers because it gets a lot more expensive and time consuming, and it's difficult to deploy capital in an efficient way. So, but after months of evaluation on both these sites, we have been unable to find viable locations to both expand our network without seeking a variance from the setback tower height plus 30 feet from any adjoining property line.
All right, thank you. Your time is up on this. Do we have any more questions from the public? Closed public hearing. Do we have a motion? Or Mr. Wascom, did you wish to speak?
Yeah, real quick, if I'd be glad to make a motion. I just think it's important based off of the infrastructure for this parish and providing quality cell service. I mean, people use it all the time, and it's not like it's increasing traffic or causing flooding or being a load on our infrastructure. I think it's a positive. So I'm in favor of it. If I make a motion that we grant.
Hang on. Hang on a minute.
Ms. Sandifer, I'm sorry, I didn't hit the button for her, so Mr. Watts, I'm going to let Ms. Sandifer speak.
So with a waiver in this instance, I'm not real sure how that will project into the future with the amount, the footage that's off. So that locks us into that footage from here on out?
Well, look, anytime you grant a variance to your ordinances, you need to be very, very specific on why you're granting it or why you're denying it for a particular site. Because you are correct, later down the road, if somebody else were to come in, let's say hypothetically you grant this, and then down the road, several years, somebody comes back with something very similar, almost identical, and then you deny them, they're going to say, well, why are we different than the other people you allowed to do this?
They would have to do that in a court of law, right?
Right.
It's a suit.
Yeah. Then
and so with the fall radius on this, and it collapses over, is it going to collapse over in the road?
No, ma'am. It's designed to collapse on itself, actually within the tower compound, so that it doesn't affect. The tower compound is probably 40 or 50 by 50 in this instance. But the compound, the tower itself, the compound is set far back enough from the road that collapsing the compound wouldn't affect the road.
Define enough.
Well, so the letter from the engineer says this would result in the portion of the tower above the failure location folding over onto the portion of the tower below the failure location. So in the unlikely event of total separation, this would result in a zero fall radius at ground level, meaning it would collapse on itself within the fenced-in compound that is set back from the road 50, 60, 70, 80 feet.
Okay, so in this instance, I really want to support it. In this instance, could the motion be made to just reflect this piece? Because it's going to be across the street from a potential 2,000 to 2,500 home subdivision. The infrastructure is so lacking out there. We need it out there. Can I make it specific to this so that it would not carry forward?
So I would encourage you to make your motion very specific, just as you stated, the fact that it is a zero fall structure. If it does collapse, it'll fall within the radius of it. It won't fall onto a road or onto an adjacent property, according to the engineer. That the area that it's being located in is in desperate need of additional cell service.
I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need help when I make that motion. But I do want to say some more things. So, just for everybody's informational purposes, the landowner wants it. Other people in the area are excited about it. My problem was it being too close to the highway. So I did speak with the director of DPW today about it, and what he told me was, in a situation where a road, say we widen 4-H Club Road, the Highway 1032, where we would widen it, it would go around the infrastructure. It's not going to. So I don't see, and correct me if I'm wrong, please. I need the information. It would not affect the widening of the road there. Okay.
Yes, Mr. Delat.
The attorney was, in my opinion, very correct in being specific, okay? 0 foot radius. That is what it has to be stated in there. Because if another comes up and it says 30 foot or 40 foot or 50 foot, and if it's not a non-collapsible tower, then we're going to be in trouble. And one of the reasons I brought it up before is y'all got 2 of these to do, and the planning commission was sitting in your seat. One they approved, one they didn't, and it's got the same language. That puts us in a position to be looked at and maybe sued or not sued. I don't know.
I believe Mr. Ladd, I believe the planning and zoning approved one and didn't approve the others because one is the 3-leg tower and the French settlement one is a monopole.
So that's why you have to have the specific language, like the attorney said. It's the point that I'm making, okay? So if you do one and just say, I don't grant this waiver, or I do grant the waiver, when you grant the waiver, put specific language, or you can be personally tied in, not personally, but we can be tied into a situation.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so we've got a bunch of people, council members that want to speak. Mr. Watts?
Yeah, I took a trip up to Ruston Wednesday before last, and I got on Interstate 55, then got on 20. Every 3 miles or 4 miles, there was a tower that could reach the interstate. And if I thought it was going to be, if it's that big of a problem, and I understand anything can happen. I don't think the federal highway would allow it that close if there would be something that the engineer didn't design with a 0 fall radius. And not only that, every day, you're going to do it tonight. You're going to drive home, and there's a telephone pole that can reach across the road. Most of them 35 to 60 foot. So this is something, you got to trust your engineers on this, because we don't want to take responsibility of setting something that's going to come back on us.
All right. Mr. Erdy?
Yes. Is the distance that we're talking about 230 feet that we're trying to waiver here?
No,
Is
170 feet.
170 feet?
Is the distance. It's 235 total.
235 total.
Well, it's 195, yeah, plus 30, 225. And the waiver would be for 170 feet. But our ordinance doesn't specify, Mr. Cascio, does our ordinance specify 0 fall or not?
It's actually silent to 0 fall. It's just 100% of the tower height plus 30 feet.
All right, my question is this.
Thank you.
Being as they're collapsible towers and they're not going to fall in the wrong way to do any harm. We have all these storms around the country, not just here. Have you ever seen them work, or have you ever seen them not work? I'm relying on y'all to tell me. Have you ever saw it fail?
Right. So yes, sir. So to my knowledge, right. So there are kind of two kinds of towers. We're going to talk about the monopole next. My understanding is I live in New Orleans. The only tower that came down in New Orleans during Katrina was a monopole that was taken out by a barge that breached the flood wall. It was a monopole in the lower Ninth Ward. The barge took down, knocked over the monopole. My understanding is that during Hurricane Laura in Southwest Louisiana, there were older self-support towers, 3-sided, that essentially collapsed. We also know that during Hurricane Ida, larger Entergy transmission towers that were older towers came down, and that caused a blackout in New Orleans. So in answer to the question, I'm not aware of any towers with this design even coming down, so it hasn't really, during the most recent storms, I'm not aware in Louisiana of any towers like this coming down. And if it does come down, it's designed to fold on itself.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
195.
195.
Yes.
Okay. So 225, and how far is it off the road?
So it
65.
is approximately, so the setback requirement is from the property line. The tower is going to be about, I think it's 57, 58 feet from the property line. From the road itself, the tower, from the improved portion of the road, the tower is about, it's between 85 and 90 feet. But again, the ordinance requirement is just a distance from the property line or other structures.
Which is roughly 50,
I think 57 feet from the property line. Yeah. Yeah.
Ms. Delat, do you wish to speak?
There's a waiver of 107 feet.
We have been seeing an influx of, when the towers come in for our preliminary meetings, as this being a problem with our current ordinance. It's way back in old times, and there's newer techniques that the cell tower companies use. This is one of the things that WSP and I think that Mr. Steve and Marty are currently working on to fix it to be current, to give y'all something where you're not having to present something to you, where you're not having to do waivers on items like this. So that is something that we have noticed in our department, and there are professionals working on it to try to resolve it, present something to you where you don't have to.
All right.
So we might not even have this specific issue in the future.
Correct.
All right, Mr. Goff.
It's a problem because our ordinance is not up to the way that the towers are being made now, built.
To my comments is exactly what Ms. Dee said. You know, before it was a stationary firm tower all the way from top to bottom, and when it collapsed, it would be like a tree. And these things are designed to as breakaways, just like we see on the interstate. When somebody hits a sign, it just breaks away at the bottom and swings around. Some of them have cables in the middle that keeps them attached. The most important thing here, from my standpoint, versus the other one, is that our Department of DPW basically states that the widening of the road would not be affected, so the tower wouldn't have to be moved, and the constituent is for it. So when we look at a specific reasoning why we get away from it, is one, it's not going to affect our widening, and two, we have engineering documentation that should be filed with this that states that it is not a hindrance or danger to anyone that it would fall on. So that way we're protected, I feel, personally, not an attorney, but I try to be sometimes, according to my wife. But it gives us some clearance and some ability to say that, you know, we're going to approve it based on the zero thing and the fact that it doesn't interfere with a widening. And that's what I look at more than anything, is the widening. Now, I would like to... What? No. I would like to look at the ordinance part and to be just very specific when y'all do that, to have a setback from the road. I feel 200 feet is not out of the question, because it does come an eye issue in the middle of a neighborhood. If we can get it back a little further, I would love to see that part of it. So we won't have this in the future. So,
all right, thank you, Mr. Coates.
All right, this will be quick. Mr. Marty, could you provide us with a timetable on how quickly we could do this? Get this ordinance together?
It wouldn't be any trouble to draft it. I'm very familiar with the technology and the issues. It wouldn't be any trouble to draft it.
So could it possibly be ready for the next ordinance committee meeting?
Let me identify what Mr. Steve just said. Day before yesterday, we'll have it done.
Ready for when?
For the next council meeting to introduce it?
For the next council meeting?
The 14th.
Yeah, I can probably have it ready to introduce at that point in time.
Okay.
I got something I got to write tomorrow, but after that, I'm good.
All right.
It'll have to go to September P and Z meet because the advertisement's already out for August.
All right.
But
I have one more question. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Mr. Adams, could this wait until that ordinance is put into effect?
I don't think so. Do you have information on that? That's a good question.
I guess that, like Matt mentioned earlier, they've been working on these sites for a year, 2 years at least. So I think if possible, we'd respectfully request that you guys consider these this evening, just so that they're able to proceed with the towers. And I mean, and this isn't your issue, but an internal issue at AT&T is just budget cycles, and they're trying to get the service online as soon as they can.
All right, Ms. Sandifer.
so with that, no matter how quickly, that isn't a factor here. Because if we issue the variance tonight and we change the ordinance next week, it changes everything.
Right.
So the urgency is not going to make a difference. I do think we need to get it through urgently, but it's not going to make a difference in this situation.
All right. Do we have a motion that's now amended to reflect this? Mr.
I'll make
Watt?
the motion, and I need the attorney's help.
So I believe Ms. Sandifer is going to be, to clarify her motion, it's a motion to grant the waiver because the waiver is approximately 170 feet. The tower is structurally engineered to be a zero fall radius, and the placement of it will not affect any planned future infrastructure. Does that cover it?
Motion.
I'll say,
All right.
I'll
All right, we
second
have
the
a
motion.
duly made motion.
Just to add to that, Mr. Chairman, that you would attach the engineer's document.
Yes.
File that in the record to go with that motion to support what was said here tonight about the safety issue.
Okay, and we have a motion made by Ms. Sandifer, second by Mr. Wascom. The engineer's report saying that it's zero fall.
That's
It's in the motion.
in the motion.
In the motion. All right. Do we have any discussion? All right, Mr. Erdy, press your button. Yeah,
I apologize.
Mr. Erdy?
Yeah, so are we talking about both towers or one tower right now?
No, sir, just one.
Okay.
Just the
Just wanna
Nickens
make
Lake.
sure. All right.
Mr. Wascom seconded it. All right. There being no further discussion, vote on your iPad. All right, that passed 6 with 1 abstain. Enjoy your Candy Crush. Okay, now do we need to do the actual, that's fine? That's it, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you. All right. Next one we have is, I'm just going to do a chair privilege here. Let's just do the other one as well, since we have AT&T here, and just get it out of the way. That would be in Mr. Coates' district. Where is that? That's
In French Settlement.
French Settlement, right, but I'm looking for it. D. Okay, that's Jack's Road, right? No, that's Council 1. Okay, it's up here. I see it. B. Okay, AT&T Tower, French Settlement, site plan with waiver, Louisiana Highway 444, section 4319S R4E. It's zoned R1.5, which doesn't exist. Council District 8.
Yeah,
Mr.
it was
King.
Planning Commission's wish to approve.
Right.
And this same waiver, so you guys know what to do.
Just point of clarification for the audience. This is the one that there's a temporary tower there now. It's on the grounds of St. Joseph Catholic Church. And from what I understand, that Father Jason, who used to be there at St. Joseph's, was okay with it. And Father Taylor Sandifer is okay with it. And I think, Mr. Coach, you had a meeting with AT&T, correct?
I did.
Okay.
Additionally, I'd like everybody to know that this church serves as an emergency hub during disasters, so it's very important for them to have communications at that location.
All right.
And I'll make the motion to approve
Yeah,
the waiver
open-
on this tower in this location.
Open public hearing. Is anyone here to speak for or against it?
So, Mr. Coach, this is going to be the same, just for a point of attorneys, this is going to be the same motion reflecting of same motion as Ms. Sandifer said, but for this particular site. Is that your motion?
That's correct. And the waiver that we were providing has nothing to do with the roadway. This tower is far enough off the roadway. The only waiver that we're actually given is because it's going to fall on someone else's property.
Right.
And this is inside the corporation's limits of French Settlement, and the mayor has gave it his blessing.
All right.
I'll second the motion, and you'll have the affidavit for that same pole in French Settlement for zero fall? Okay, thank you.
Okay. So we have, do you wish to speak?
Yeah, if I could just quickly, the Planning Commission recommended approval on this. One of their conditions was that we get letters of no objection from 3 adjoining property owners. We have them from 2 out of the 3, not the third, so we'd like you to approve it based on the fact that we have, the third person didn't respond, they haven't indicated opposition, they don't live there, there are no improvements there, so we respectfully request your approval based on the 2 letters of no objection that we have in hand as opposed to getting all 3.
All right. So we have, Ms. Sanford, let me just get the motion in a second. And we have a motion, Mr. Coates and Mr. Cascio. Can you help him state it so it's right? State the motion.
I mean, it's a similar motion to grant the waiver due to the fact that this one's a monopole.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken. It's a monopole that's zero fall radius, self-collapsing, does not interfere with any existing or proposed infrastructure. And the fact that the only property on which it would fall is okay with it. And let's attach the engineer's report with it as well.
Okay. Second. We have the motion, Mr. Coates, second by Mr. Goff. Okay. Yes.
Sarah Ferris, Planning and Zoning Commission. Just a couple of quick comments. The reason that we handled these differently was specifically around this letters of no objection. So that has historically been the way that the planning department has requested that we go about these waivers. We could not get a letter of no objection from the highway for the previous one. So that felt inconsistent with the way that we've behaved before. So that was why we took the approach that we did on one waiver and took a different approach on this waiver, because they still had time to go and get those letters of no objection from the property owners for the French Settlement Tower. The one thing that I did want to bring up, which is a little bit of a tangential issue, but the way that our ordinance reads today for the sign that is required for the public notification virtually just says, we're going to come put a cell phone tower on this property. It doesn't have any contact information, doesn't require that, doesn't require anything about who's putting the tower up. So some of this, requiring the letters of no objection and getting in touch with the property owners could be improved if our ordinance could include some language around, put some contact info on the sign so people know who to get in touch with. So this is all I wanted to say.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Ferris. Ms. Sandiford, do you wish to speak?
I do. I just want to state for the record that we cannot require a letter of no objection. Because that came up, that came from our attorney. We can't require it. AT&T, I discussed it with them. They did it as a good faith, being good neighbors. I just wanted that to be on record. Thank you.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. Vote on your iPad. Brad, do I have to close public hearing? Okay. Okay, that motion passed. 6 to 1 abstain. Mr. Goff, question?
I just wanted to remind y'all in the discussion that we had, if y'all could follow through your agreement, and that is in the hurricane fence, putting the slats in those slots all the way around, just from the aesthetic standpoint. I think we had talked about that and that it might be in there, but we didn't know for sure about the hurricane fence and putting the plastic slats
Yeah, I believe
all the way around. If y'all can make sure
we're
that.
fine. I think that's what's in the plans, and we're fine with having it sort of chain link fence with slats. Is I believe what they do.
Oh,
All right, thank you. Moving on, 18C, Livingston Parish Fire Protection, District 4, Station 7, preliminary site plan with waiver, Walker South Road, Section 43 and 1317S R3E, zoned R1, and this Council District 6. Mr. Keene.
Yes, sir. The Planning Commission voted to approve, and it was unanimous.
Right. This,
You know more about it than
I'll
most
speak on this. This is Fire Protection 4. There is about 10% of the entire population of Livingston Parish lives along Walker South. They have a fire station that only holds 2 fire people, and they're trying to expand that fire station. They acquired the land to do so. They just want a waiver on the setback on it. The land behind it is an old fire tower land, I think Weyerhaeuser, so it doesn't impinge on anyone. Is there anyone to speak for or against it?
Good evening, Council. My name is Blaze Hayes. I'm with the civil engineering team on this project. We're representing the Livingston Parish Fire District 4. What you have in front of you is the preliminary site plan for Station 7. They're proposing to expand the existing facility approximately 3,000 square feet, and with this expansion would come an additional apparatus bay. This apparatus bay would be able to handle a full-size ladder truck, which it currently does not. The existing site currently cannot. In addition, we'll be adding approximately 1,400 square foot of parking. To do this expansion, we would need a variance on the rear setback, which is the planned north side of this page, to be reduced from 30 down to 7. I apologize, down to 9 feet. That's what we're requesting tonight.
And there is no neighbor behind there as far as like a dwelling or anything?
Correct. Closest neighbor is on the eastern side, the Plan East side, which is, I guess, the southern side. And it's approximately 150 feet away is the nearest house, but that's not the side we're requesting the variance on.
All right. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
All right. Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Watts, second by Mr. Goff. Do we have any discussion? Any comments from the public? There be no comments. Vote on your iPad. Okay. That motion passed unanimously. Thank you, Blaze. Okay, we have that's it for that, right? So 19, Livingston Parish Zoning Commission rezoning request. Mr. Keene.
Sure. All right, the first one is
Case number
let's see,
2523.
from the Parish Zoning Commission. This is case number 2523 on LA 42 from R1 to C1. Planning Commission to approve the rezoning request to 42 Acres LLC from R1 to C1.
And they voted yes.
Yes. 7 to 0, 2 absent.
All right, we have to vote on each one of these separately, so.
I'll make that motion.
All right. We got a motion by Mr. Coates, second by Mr. Wascom. Do we have any discussion from the public? Any cards? All right. Any question from council members? Vote on your iPad. That motion passed unanimously. Case B, Mr. King?
Yes, case number 2524-9110 Cochran Road, R2 to C1. And it is also the recommendation from the zoning commission to approve the rezoning request for Farrell Mealy from R2 to C1.
This is in my district, and we've been working on this one for a while. I think it conforms to what's already there, so I move that we rezone this.
Is that a motion? Okay, motion by Mr. Wascom, second by Ms. Sandifer. Any discussion from the public? Council members? Okay, vote on your iPad. That also passed unanimously. C, case 2520-26, Mr. King.
This is one of the ones that Mr. Taylor wanted to pull because y'all pulled 1.5, so it couldn't move forward because it was recommended to accept it based on 1.5, and we don't have 1.5.
No, I thought we had.
Oh,
I think we took that off.
25. Oh, okay, you pulled it? Okay, I still had it in my package.
Yeah, 2526 is
2526 LA Highway 16 from R1 to C1.
Yes.
It is Planning Commission to approve the rezoning for that parcel from R1 to C1. And it was 7-0 vote.
Okay.
I'll motion.
That's a motion by Ms. Sandifer, second by Mr. Wascom. Any discussion from the audience? Okay, vote on your iPad. That motion passed unanimously. Now, case number 2527, Jacks Road.
2527 Jacks Road, AG to R1, and it was also the Planning Commission's voted to approve the rezoning request for Amanda Clark and Charles Middleton and Lawrence and Cherry Fontenot.
That's
6-0.
That's
One
Mr.
abstain.
Watts. Right? That's your district?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Second.
Ms. Sandifer seconded it. Mr. Watts made the motion. Any discussion? All right. Vote on your iPad.
Go.
Okay, that passed unanimously. All right, last one, Mr. Keene. This is 25-28 Brown Road.
2528 Brown Road. The Livingston Parish Zoning Commission voted to deny the rezone request. 7-0 with 2 absent.
Okay, this is in Ms. Sandifer's district. Did you
correct.
wish to discuss anything on this or not?
I don't support it. I don't support it.
Okay. So we need a motion to
accept their denial.
To accept the denial from planning and zoning.
Motion.
All right, we have a motion from Ms. Sandifer, second. Second from Mr. Watts. Any discussion?
I got a question after the vote.
Okay. Vote on your iPad. Remember, you're voting to deny it. Okay, to agree with P&Z. Right. All right, that's unanimous. Mr. Goff, question?
My question is, did the applicant request to come to the council? If the planning, my question here is, Mr. Marty, if it's denied at the planning and zoning, it should stay there unless the applicant asks for it to move forward. I just want to make sure we're clear on
I don't
that.
think they asked for it.
That is a good point, like the
It is a
AT&T
good
asked
point.
to come.
Yeah. I mean, they have the right to come forward, but if they don't ask to come forward.
They do have a right to come forward, and the problem with the whole thing is that the Livingston Parish Plan of Government has some tricky provisions in it that make whatever the Planning Commission does a recommendation. So it's actually going to have to come here for an opportunity for a hearing, no matter what. I know the ordinance says something different, but
So up or down.
That's what I just wanted to make sure that it needed to.
Always
Thank you.
remember that this is the legislative body. The planning and zoning is just a recommendation.
Yeah.
So it's got to come here one way or the other. for you to either approve or deny.
Right. Okay, moving on to 20, board appointments, resignations. Livingston Parish Gas District Number 1, Joe Erdy.
Yes, Gilbert Hutchison had termed out, and I'm just reappointing him for another term. Caroline, you have all the information on that? And I'm just asking him, making a motion for him to be serving another term.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve, reappoint, and what was her name again?
Gilbert Hutchison.
Gilbert Hutchinson.
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor? Oh, anyone to speak on that? Is the person here, Joe?
No, he's not here.
All right.
I did not ask him. I told him I'd take care of it.
All right, that motion passed unanimously.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. For
Yes, sir.
Legal.
Mr. Coates.
Mr. Cassio.
Yes, sir.
We've had board appointments and resignations in the past, and we've been told that as long as one's on there, we could add some. Is that correct?
I mean, you can lift the agenda to.
For the same board.
Right. So if it's the same board, yes.
Yeah.
If it's a different board, you have to lift the agenda and add that board. I'm understanding your question correctly.
Okay. I guess the question that I'm saying is this, then I would make a recommendation to lift the board or to lift the agenda pertaining to the resignations that were done in an open meeting at the library board.
So
would that be prudent to do?
Well, in connection with those, I'm going to refer to it as an alleged resignation. By law, I believe it's Revised Statute 42, Section 141. The resignation must be submitted in writing, and it's not effective until received it by the council in writing and then accepted by the council. So until that happens, those board members who expressed their intent to resign technically have not.
Okay. I was at that meeting, and they stood up and were very adamant about the fact that they resigned and they were done, walked out of a meeting, and then did not show up for a following meeting. And you're saying that that doesn't show an intent?
Correct. That's like, it's them getting up and saying I resigned is kind of like that episode of The Office whenever Michael Scott walked out and said, I declare bankruptcy, and just kind of like said it out loud. He didn't do what he needed to do to get it done. So they have to submit it in writing, and it has to be accepted by the council for it to be effective.
Okay. I think the comparison to Mr. Scott on that movie is very far-fetched from what we're actually dealing with, or we're dealing with on that particular night. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there, and I would make a motion to lift the agenda to accept the resignations. The board also accepted the resignation of them at their next meeting.
That's not their purview to do that.
No, I understand that. I understand that, but I think that goes to show.
No, I agree with you. Their intent was to resign. I agree with you. I think that's their wish, but they have to follow the proper procedure pursuant to state law to actually resign and for this council to accept it.
So we have a motion to lift the agenda. Do we have a second?
Okay.
Okay. We have to have a second first, or it dies, and then you can speak.
Do we have to say what we're lifting the agenda for?
Oh, I guess it was to add the library board, yeah.
Yes.
A second.
Who declared their resignation?
Okay, we have a motion to lift the agenda to accept the resignation of library board members, and we have a second. Mr. Coates made the motion. Ms. Sandifer seconded it. Vote on your iPads. All right, I forgot. We do have discussion. Mr. Erdy, you wanted to discuss?
If you're saying it's not official because it's not in writing from the other night, how much time do they have if they don't respond at all? They don't take no action. They just sit back. How many days or weeks before it's official?
Well, it's not official. Their resignation will not be official until they submit it in writing.
I'm saying, what if they just go on for a long period of time? And
Well, I
do
mean,
not-
you have the
How many
potential
days?
option to remove them
Okay.
for being derelict in their duty.
That's what I'm confused about.
Right, so there's
That's
two
why
different,
I
there's
asked
two different
about
actions.
what we were doing here.
There's one to remove, that would be the council taking the step to start that process, versus a resignation where the board member initiates the process of being taken off the board.
Yeah, it's two different ways.
Correct. There's two different ways you can do it. So, right, so if they just never turn in a written resignation,
Yeah,
but they
for
stop going to meetings and they stop.
Indefinite period of time,
Right,
right?
at that point, I believe they would be derelict in their duties as a library board member, and this council could remove them.
Just want to know what we got, that's all.
Yes,
Thank you.
All right, any further discussion?
Yeah, I got something to say.
All right, Mr. Wascom?
Yeah, the motion is to remove, to accept resignations of board appointments that you don't even, that are not your,
Mr. Wascom, I'm sorry, it's just to lift the agenda.
to lift the agenda to accept
accept it.
resignations of a board, of appointment to a board that you don't even have that appointment to accept those resignations. That's not your appointment. So you want to take action from the other council members assuming that that's theirs. I think I think you're out of line by doing that. I really do. So I'm absolutely. And there's other things going on that you don't even have a clue about, evidently. So I'm going to vote no on lifting the agenda. So it's not going to happen on my vote.
And it does need to be unanimous.
That's correct.
All right. We do have a motion and a second. Do you need to discuss, Ricky? Or can we just vote?
Can I say something real quick?
Ricky was first in the queue.
I'm sorry, okay.
All right, Ricky? All right.
That's why I was asking for clarity on where we were going with this, because we don't have resignation letters. And/or are you wanting to remove them? That's what I need to.
Well,
do you have a question there, Mr. Coates? Press the button.
I already did. So, what I am trying to do right now is we had 5 members of the library board that got up, clearly stated, I resign, and walked out of a meeting. Okay? Yes, I did.
Hold on.
Okay,
Oh, I'm sorry, 4. I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize.
All right, one at a time.
I apologize.
Mr. Watts?
That's correct. I'm not a math major. So you're right. You're absolutely correct. So there were 4 members who did that. And if someone tells me I resign and I'm leaving and they never produce a written letter, I mean, you have to take that a person did that and they left the meeting. I mean, that seems pretty clear to me of their intent to resign.
And none of those 4 were yours. So you're taking the job of these other council members who it's belonged to. And
Sir,
you're out
please.
of line by
Okay, just
by
speak.
saying
Just
that.
speak. You don't have to get upset.
I'm not upset.
Just speak.
I'm not upset. I'm just clarifying that you're out of line.
So that seems very familiar because this happened not too long ago to all of our council members as well, except they did not resign and they sat on the board dealing with decisions that were made and they never resigned.
All right.
They stayed on the board and they did their jobs.
We have a motion on the floor. Mr. Goff? Okay. Mr. Goff, you can go.
So, I'm going to echo a couple different things. The removal, when that was done, was posted, and it was done, it was all on the, and it took place. What Mr. Wascom is saying is very clear and very true, and my appointment reached out to me that night as well as the following day. And her upsetness wasn't the removal of the individual, it was the way it took place. That's what upset her more than anything. Since then, I explained to her how important her work has been, because she never has been in a public position like that, but she's very qualified to do it. So that being said, that individual has reached out to me as late as the following day or so and said, I'm not resigning, I'm going to stay on the board, I'm good. We chose not to just sit there and publicize that and do that. It will be handled. I think the reason that they did not get put or did not come to that meeting, I don't even know that they were notified of that meeting because their email was turned off, and then we had to call the attorney and get my particular appointment's email turned back on. And I think they turned everybody's back on. So that being said, Ricky Goff as Parish Council District 7 is going to stay out of it until it comes time to the finances and budget, and I'm going to have my say there because I think we need to reduce it more, and my appointment understands that and kind of believes somewhat. So my part is my member is staying on the board, and if they have another meeting, she'll be there. So when you say that we need to accept their resignation, like Mr. Wascom said, there's other things that you don't know about, and the only reason she didn't reach out to everybody or send a letter is she's not resigned, and she talked to me, and I'm very happy with her work product, and I'm very happy with her passion and her in that position. So I have no problems at all, and she's still on the board. So that's official. From my standpoint, I don't have a resignation, don't foresee getting a resignation. That's it.
Okay, Ms. Sandifer?
Okay, so I have to withdraw my second. It's going against Brad's legal opinion to accept resignation.
Is there, if she withdraws, Ms. Sandifer withdraws her second, is there a second for the lift the agenda motion?
I'll withdraw. I just wanted to make a point and try to lift the agenda to actually accept their resignations. But apparently there was a lot going on that the council was not made aware of. And I would hope that in the future, if someone's appointment reaches out and says, I changed my mind, I'd rather not resign, or I don't know what occurred, but I could tell you they should be removed because what they did was an embarrassment to this parish. They should have stayed. They should have done their jobs. And, you know, we always have things that come up that we don't like, okay? That's part of politics. But you're not in it to not, to throw in the towel, so to speak, when something doesn't go your way, whatever occurred. I don't know what occurred. Apparently, y'all have a lot that occurred that we are not privy to. So if that's what's going on, then that needs to be rectified as well.
All right, Mr.
Let me just say this. I will withdraw my motion, and we don't need any more discussion.
All right, Mr. Watts,
we don't need
in the queue. Mr. Watts, do you want to say something?
Yeah, well, since you brought it up, yeah. What happened Friday night? That's a 10 board member, right? That's a 10-member board?
No, it's not. It's a 9-member board.
You had 10 people vote on it.
It's a 9-member board.
That night, correct?
I just answered your question. It's
10. It's 10. By
It's not
state
10.
law, yes, it is. It's 10 because he counts as a vote and he counts as a member.
That's not true.
Yeah, it is.
That's not true. There's a statute.
And look, and by that, they only had 5 Friday night. And by the way, when you deny public comments and you pull a stunt like they did, and you know who I'm talking about, that is an embarrassment too. And you know it, so don't give me the dumb look.
All right.
Can you be more specific? Because I do not know what you're
happened.
speaking of.
Why'd they adjourn the meeting?
All right. Thank
You're
you,
getting
Mr.
very
Watts.
excited.
Thank you,
What?
Mr. Coates.
You was there.
Let's just talk.
Thank you, Mr. Watts, Mr. Coates. All right. Let's move along. We have Finance Committee reports. Mr. Goff.
So we had the Finance Committee, we went over the audit, and they asked me, we went over everything that the gentleman went over today, but they, and Ms. Gail, I'm still here, and I appreciate y'all hanging tight. But they wanted me to emphasize, after the meeting, they wanted me to emphasize in my finance report that if there's any questions concerns, call them, set up a time, their doors open to go over the audit in as much detail as anyone, needs.
All right,
That's
thank
it.
you. Then the Infrastructure Committee?
So the infrastructure committee that we had last night was very, we got into a lot of details. Mr. Jim Ryan was there, which was here tonight. There was some discussions about, you can go back and watch the video, and there's some discussions about a lot of these projects and these road things, and I'm going to be giving y'all a piece that we can go over with your particular area, and I want y'all to give me y'all's input parish-wide for kind of, it's kind of the vision of where we feel we're going to be able to make improvements, like 447, 444 and French Settlement. So in order for us to get ahead of this curve or get caught up with this curve with what we have as a traffic problem in our parish, we're not going to be able to do it with the dollars that we get every single year. So what we're looking at doing is how do we do that and not cost anybody any money? So we're looking at doing a bonding thing to where we can get, 50 to 60 million. I know that's a lot of money, but in the scheme of things, it's not as much as you think. We would still have, after we pay that piece or that note, we would still have 9 to 10 million a year to do overlays and things of that nature. And that would be strictly overlays and maintenance. The big projects like big roads like Duff Road, things of that nature that really are capacity driven, is what DPW is looking at trying to get done, as well as some improvement of other roads. And the one thing that came out of that meeting was forward thinking and capacity.
Good.
That's kind of what it's based on.
We're looking forward to
So
more
it'll
of
be
those.
we'll probably end up having to put that on the August agenda just to give Mr. Jim Ryan to ability to move forward. So I'll be visiting with each one of y'all if y'all have any questions about it.
Thank you, Mr. Goff. All right, 22, Mr. Brad Cascio, District Attorney's Report.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate two of my other assistant district attorneys since our last meeting. Mr. Brett Summer and Mr. Greg Stallnecker both had jury trials here in Livingston Parish that both resulted in a conviction. And so I know that's a lot of work, and I really appreciate that, helping keep this parish safe. I appreciate you guys taking the time to be specific on those waivers, because that definitely avoids any future legal conflict. So thank you for doing that. And I would like to say, I tell developers this all the time. If you know your development is going to need a waiver, before you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in engineering cost, get the waiver first.
Yeah.
Because you may not get it. So before you incur that cost, do that on the front end. I think that would alleviate a lot of problems for them as well. Other than that, nothing. Thank you.
All right, council member comments? Yes, Mr. Watson.
Yeah, I got a couple things to say. I want to thank y'all for your prayers. Tommy, make sure you get that camera over here because this is important. And I want to say thank you for your prayers. Last meeting, I asked for y'all's prayers regarding my niece, but this past week she passed away. So everything's going to be fine. God works things out. And that being said, on a lighter note, I know every district in this parish has a little gem somewhere in your district that the other parts of this parish may not know about. Well, I want to take just 1 second and tell you about something in Denham Springs that when that day comes and you look at your wife and say, where you want to go eat? And they're like, I don't know where you want to go eat. I don't know, you pick. I'm not picking, you pick. There's a place in Denham Springs called the Yellow Brick House. And I want you to plan to go by there and see Chad, and you tell him that you heard about it from the parish council meeting when John Wascom spoke about it. They had today, there's specials all the time, but today there's this hamburger, Poopalooza hamburger or something, that when they bring it to you, it's loaded, but then there's this bar. You go put chili, onions, queso. It's just loaded with all kind of stuff. You can build your own hamburger. So go by and see Chad at Yellow Brick House. I probably do. But I just want to throw that out. I'm sure every district has a little gem. So I throw it off to Chad at Yellow Brick House. He's doing a great job.
Thank you, Mr. Wascom. Anybody else? I just want to say happy birthday to Miss Raven. And also, thank you very much for her. And also prayers for Miss Sandy Teal, our clerk's husband, Stephen. He had knee replacement surgery yesterday. All right, motion?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Second. All right, this meeting is adjourned.